Are we live? Are we live? Number nine. God damn this computer. God damn.
You're going live.
I know. I'm doing it on purpose. Okay.
Like a Red Fox album.
Where's the theme music? Cue the theme music!
Cue up the orchestra.
God damn. Okay. Hope you enjoyed that false beginning.
We are here.
It's the downtown Macy's Day Parade.
And here it is, the first annual Macy's Parade here on the Thanksgiving week
COVID version.
in Richmond, Virginia. Here is the Republican elephant. Did very well in the elections this week.
Well,
Here's
the Republican chairman.
Here's a leading candidate.
I just love a parade.
Yes.
I just love a parade.
Yay! He's going through the lumbering.
I'm a conservative factor. I am Mr. Peanut, and I will not take my monocle off for anyone.
New writer for the New York Times.
Chairman writing in pencil. Writing in 9 pencil or 59 pencil. Both of them is.
Not doing too well. Just won't get out of herself. Oh, put this on
The dinosaur comes in the dinosaur. And the dinosaur runs through.
Yes, the dinosaur and it's Jurassic Park.
And the big giant duck.
Going.
Yeah, I'm putting everything in there. And everything else. And that's what that. And then, looking down the street, it's, who's that coming up over the horizon? Oh no. It's a balloon. It's a balloon. It's a balloon of Kevin. Yes, and we don't have any more music. Ooh, where'd the music go? Ooh, play the music again. Okay, give me the music. Give me the camera. You're the camera.
You're the balloon.
Lumbering balloon. You're lumbering down the street. Didn't
Be
you
careful, children.
I always wanted to be a balloon. Okay.
This was created, this wonderful balloon was in the likeness of Keith Van Allen.
Okay.
Was created.
Go to your seat. Oh! Knock everything over. Oh! I just go. Get this unbelievable. Do your stick over there.
Stick. Alright. Welcome to Keith Van Allen's Attic. And hope you enjoyed our COVID-19 parade. We were trying to I think there is a New York parade this week, but it's going to be like 1 block long, and it's only for show, and no one's going to go see it on TV. My name is Kaye Lazar. I'm a little bit less of a song because I got a haircut. I went to Matt Lauer's barber. Somebody's got to go to him. Matt Lauer, if you remember, resigned in disgrace from the Today Show, and he used to do the Macy's Parade every year. And he was I guess he was scouting for girlfriends while he was doing all that stuff.
I said he was fooling around with the secretary. What else is new?
So anyway, so since his barber went out of business because he doesn't need him anymore, I am now going to him. So there you go. But they say most men look good with a crew cut, so there I got it. So
it worked for
for
what's his name? It was the head of the Yankees or something.
Who?
Steinbrenner? I don't know.
George Steinbrenner. He had a.
He did on the Seinfeld show.
Got the Johnny Unitas look.
The back of his head on the Seinfeld show.
Yes.
Okay, we'll go with that.
We'll figure it out.
We're here, more or less. And I'm coming in here.
Yes. Whoa. There we go.
Oh,
let me move the camera a little better.
Oh, well.
Wait, okay.
It's not falling off, is it? Okay.
We're kind of weird. We're like sitting at the bottom of a hill.
That's because it's tilted.
Yeah. The new thing is called close-ups.
I gotta fix that.
Yeah. We have a lot of entertaining stuff on this show later, so don't worry about it. just
keep talking. Keep plowing ahead.
Now we got an eclipse of the sun in the middle of it. Oh, there you are. Oh man. There we go. Want to thank the ghost of James Wong Howe. Yes.
Oh, that's in there.
Is there a zoom lens on there?
Nope, not yet.
No. All right. This is what. But you enjoyed our parade, didn't you, everybody? So.
Okay.
Like I said, on the edge here. So. I don't believe you should be comfortable doing a show. I think it should be sort of. I think it should be sort of on edge. All right. Oh, that looks good. Okay. And here you come. Hey!
Use your knee. Okay.
Ah! Yikes!
Boy.
Okay.
It's still cutting us off.
Can you lumber down a bit? Maybe we should change seats. Oh! Whoa, you right? Yeah, now we got it.
Oh.
People like to see our faces.
My doctor just told me I'm legally blind, so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Probably our director, Ray Charles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. Is it okay?
Think of something.
Yes. Well, anyway, I bought a whole bunch of clothes today at the Pennies, going out of business. The Pennies, let me tell you something. It's really cool. I was in the long
what we
line.
really want to hear about?
It's 80% off. Listen to this.
Yeah.
And so I bought a bunch of stuff, and it only cost like $12. I got like $200 worth of stuff. And they said, and the woman said, you got a great deal. And I said, yeah, I always gotta look my best. And he goes, I've been seeing you come here for 20 years. You always do look your best. And I said, yeah, I'm a TV star. Thanks to Mr. Keith Van Allen.
Did I do anything about that?
See, you have all this talent.
We don't have any guests because we can't fit any guests in.
You have all this talent. So
yeah, but I'm not a talent on the internet
well,
yet.
that's great.
I used to do animated cartoons. The old way. Okay.
Now you.
Okay. And now.
What was the point without this on? Without those?
Why is it so far away?
Yeah, it's like we're at the end of the toast.
Okay.
Look like we're in the my chair.
No, I moved to.
We look like we're at the end of the toast.
Okay.
I can't wait.
The end of the calliope.
Yeah.
The calliope died.
This is a pretty good rehearsal.
Yeah.
Oh, this isn't the rehearsal.
It's almost. Hey, it's almost Turkey Day.
Oh yes.
And hand over the turkey. And I couldn't find a. Give me the turkey. Yeah.
This is a turkey.
The bald eagle. The bald eagle.
The bald eagle.
Which is what was it? Ben Franklin wanted the turkey to be the symbol of America.
That's right.
So we're doing the reverse today. We got the eagle for Turkey Day.
They're going to rename Turkey Bald Eagle as a show up a contrast.
Sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. I'm a hawk. I'm a big hawk. Yes, sir. Okay, down. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay.
Yes. Now, do you know turkeys are really stupid animals, and they could. I think someone called the police.
I think somebody that was watching this show.
I think they thought I fell down.
This cannot be on the air.
Yes. No, it's all right. I think they drove by.
I hope you can hear that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they can't hear it.
What were you saying? You were saying
the turkeys are very stupid animals, and when it rains, they lift their beaks up, and the water comes down. They catch the water in their beaks, and they can actually drown doing that because they don't know the stuff. They were just evolved to grace our table and sit there and be big and fat. That's right.
They are. I went turkey hunting once with my dad, and I shot at one with a bow and missed him. Yeah. But one time I was driving in a dirt road in the country. Yeah. And a turkey came out right in front of the car and was turkey trotting in front of the car.
The turkey trot.
Yeah, they're not very smart.
Turkey in the straw.
But it was pretty big, pretty great. It was a bit of a thrill, And he looks like a throwback to a dinosaur, which he really is. They're kin to dinosaurs. It looks like one of those dinosaurs.
Turkey, yeah.
Yeah,
lopsided sort of.
Ostriches really look like certain dinosaurs. The word dinosaurs look like, and pterodactyls look like great blue herons. And I was believing that when I was a kid. I was saying, those things used to be, the other thing. And then they came along and they proved it. Yeah. But I put it in my children's book. I ought to be plugging the children. Where is my children's book?
This book.
No, that's the novel. I got that. Oh, here it is.
Children wouldn't like it.
Here.
Oh, that's your children's book. Okay.
Yeah, I haven't plugged it. It's about time to plug it because Christmas is coming, and I'll show you the scene where the I was referring to.
Wow, look at this beautiful art.
Yeah, art.
Hold it still so we can get a good look at it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And you see that great blue heron over there is flying off and morphing into a pterodactyl. And that duck is morphing into a duck-billed dinosaur, which it really existed. And down at the bottom you see Festus the Blunder Dog, who is the main character. Yeah. And he has a wild, crazy, existential, transcendental experience in the wetlands. He has a dream. He's afraid of the creatures in the water in the beginning, and then he goes to sleep, and he has all these visions.
Hold it steady.
Yeah, it goes in the opposite direction.
Oh, you get the mirror image? Yeah, we're looking at the mirror image. Yeah.
Anyway, so he was based on a dog I actually had when I was in New Orleans years ago. And he was a great dog, but he was a goofy dog. Yeah. And he had made all these funny expressions like, especially if you threw a little bit of something in the water, it would go bloop, and he'd go, And he was a water dog, and he wanted to get in, but he was kind of afraid at the same time.
He was a funny dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had to keep him out of the water because there were garfish. Yeah. They're giant monster fish.
Oh, yeah.
They have teeth this long, like a big alligator fish, and they go bloop, and he would go like that. And he wanted to get in, and he was a little puppy, and I had to keep him out. Yeah. So he developed these weird tics, I think.
Did he Could this fish? I never heard of this fish. Could it eat a dog or eat a?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
could take your leg off.
Oh yeah.
But if
Like a prawn.
they're about 12 feet long.
Oh
They
yeah.
can, and then
Maybe
their
12 feet
their
long.
mouth is about that long and full of teeth, very long and narrow, like a kind of like a alligator.
Yeah.
And they come up to the surface. You're there at the canal. I was in Metairie, which is a suburb of New Orleans, where I was doing animation. And this thing would just come up to the surface and go like a sea serpent. It
Wow.
looked like it's freaky. It really is.
Wow.
And so that was part of the
And that's
inspiration.
part of the
Part of the inspiration for
that would freak me out. I don't think I'd ever
But,
even have a glass of water again if I saw one of them.
But I came back to
Yeah.
Virginia and dropped the dog off, and I was going to Canada to work up there, and I dropped the dog off with my mom and dad. And
Yeah.
they were rather surprised, but they liked him.
Yeah.
They're dog people.
What's the dog's name?
Festus.
Festus.
Festus the wonder dog.
Festus.
Festus the blunder dog. And there he is with the thing in the water.
A Festus for the rest of us. That's Festus like from Gunsmoke.
Yeah, well, the reason was that name came about was my ex-wife at the time I was married. She was not over Gunsmoke, and
Yeah.
when I got this crazy Irish setter
Yeah.
golden retriever, she said, "Let's name him Matt. He should be called Matt." And I said, "He's not a Matt. He's a Festus."
Festus.
Because he was all over the place.
Yeah.
So he became Festus, and
Dennis Weaver.
yeah. And then I wrote a poem about him when I was leaving
Yeah.
him to go to Canada, and eventually I turned that into
Nice
the book.
story
The
for
book.
children.
It starts out, "There are creatures in the water, so you must beware, for you never know quite what's lurking down there. They move neath the surface with luminous eye, ever stalking the innocent passer-by. They splop and they sploop and they squiggle about, yet somehow they never come all the way out. With meandering motion they wriggle and squirm, from monstrous fish to insignificant germ." It's kind of a Boris Karloff
Yeah.
feel there.
Yeah, you do it well.
You know,
You should do a book on tape.
you know that they're soaking, of which they're quite fond.
Mhm.
You hear their loud croaking out there in the pond. And it goes on like that.
Now,
Yeah,
this wouldn't be too scary for children, would it?
just enough.
Just enough.
Well, scary is good for
Scary,
kids
yeah.
if it's the right kind of scary.
Yeah.
I mean, Walt Disney did it.
Yeah.
Richard Scarry did it.
Yeah.
And
He lived up to his
let me
name.
tell you, some of the books on the market
Mhm.
these days they get a lot stranger than this.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
That's the type of book I would have
Roald
loved
Dahl.
as a kid.
Yeah.
Because that was given I liked Dr. Seuss a lot, but I was
Yeah.
also given a lot of
I
children.
mean, you got to have excitement and
yeah,
curiosity and ooh, what is that, Daddy? Oh, and that makes you learn.
yeah,
And it's a great, and then it ends up all right in the end. It's,
yeah.
he floats away safely into the moonlight.
You gave
He
me the ending. Go
floats
tell me the ending.
away into the moonlight. So,
How
Creatures
many
in the
pages is it?
one more plug. Creatures in the Water at Amazon.com,
Yeah,
and
published by Random House.
you can get it a few other places too.
Was it
Yeah.
published by Random?
No.
What was Bennett Cerf like? I only know him from What's My Line.
That guy was a huge publisher.
Yeah.
He's sitting there making quips with
Yeah.
Richard Daley.
Yeah,
You never suspect.
John Daly,
That was in the
Yeah.
John Daley. That was who was Richard Daley?
the mayor of Chicago.
Oh,
I knew he.
Yeah, Richard Daley. Sorry about that, Richard or
Yeah.
John. But that was back when New York was New York, and it
Yeah.
had the ambiance of the Great White Way and the Broadway, and everybody knew everybody. But those old shows are great
Yeah.
windows on that world.
I noticed Bennett Cerf always gets the mystery guest right.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
they feed him alive. No, he's just really smart.
Yeah.
And Dorothy Kilgallen, who
Yeah.
died mysteriously,
Yeah,
didn't she?
she drank.
Fell out of a window? Or?
No, I know what happened.
Mm.
The window is another weird thing. Dorothy Kilgallen accidentally, I think she, like a lot of people, had a cocktail, but then also took sleeping pills.
And then one night she had too many cocktails or maybe too many sleeping pills and didn't wake up.
And fell out of her window?
No, I don't think she fell out of the window. But you know what happened with the window was Arlene Francis.
That's who I was going to...
She was cleaning her window.
She knocked a pot.
She knocked a pot over and killed somebody through an awning.
Actually killed her.
She's in the Guinness... not the Guinness, but she was. They had a whole article about famous celebrities who've killed people, and she was one.
Arlene Francis, very interesting lady. When I was a kid watching the show, she seemed like some old middle-aged lady. And then when I grew up and saw the reruns, hey, she's hot.
Yeah,
she's a really hot lady. And Woody Allen thought so too. Woody Allen was on the show, and he was hitting on her. Yeah. But she was sexy and very intelligent lady. But it's funny when you're a kid, you say, "Oh, who's this old bag?" Yeah. And then you grow up and whoa.
A lot of the actors I used to see in, well, I'll tell you what happened. There was a lot of talk shows and game shows, and you'd see like the old Hollywood actresses. They were like in their 40s at the time or 50s, and I'm just a little kid, so I think they're ancient. But then I thought they were kind of ugly or something, like my grandmother or something. Yeah. But then I see, and then I grow up and become a film buff, and then I see see the old movies with them in it, like Olivia de Havilland or Joan Fontaine or Gloria Swanson. I said, oh, I thought they were beautiful women.
Our tastes change as we mature, and
the men to me
mature very slowly.
And the men, and for some reason, it's weird how when you watch TV and stuff, you always get the idea that these old guys have these young wives, and in real life, most men have wives or girlfriends their own age.
And then some don't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe, like, for example, what was really weird shows like The Honeymooners. They had, like, young guys.
Norton! Hey, Ralph. What's the matter? Hey, I'd like a pimento for a memento. I'm quoting the cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Ralph, let's have a pimento for a memento, because they're two rats.
Yes.
And it was...
Warner Brothers.
Yeah. I don't know if they did I think Al Jolson... Mm-hmm. Not Al Jolson. Who was the guy? Mel Blanc. Did the voices for those. Yeah. For that one. But there was a Jack Benny cartoon.
Yes.
That Jack Benny did the voice for.
Jack Benny.
Now old Jack.
Yeah.
And he had Mary. Mary was one of the mice.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was Mary Livingston.
No. Mary was a strange woman, I understand. I read the autobiography of their daughter that was adopted, and everyone seemed to like Jack a lot, and they didn't really care. They didn't really care much for Mary. And what happened was they claimed that the idea on I Love Lucy that she always wanted to get in Ricky Ricardo's band and in his act was based on Jack Benny's wife always trying to get on his show. And you never see her on any other show but his show. And actually, she was quite talented as a comedian and actress. But
Mary? Mary spent many years on the radio.
Yeah.
Maybe she was just camera shy.
Yeah. She retired in the 60s, I think.
We're at the ballpark.
Yeah.
Throw the ball out. Okay.
Are you the type of guy who goes to the ballpark just to hear the music?
Yeah. I want to be that guy. That guy behind the organ up in the stands. Gee whiz. No, I can't even do that. It was Charge, or the one where they were building up the suspense.
Dun, 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 dun. It's like the Nixon head. Dun, dun, dun.
There you go. I can do Bach, but I can't do that.
I think it goes dun 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 dun. Yeah. That's a good first try. For a guy who's never heard of it.
That's a crumb horn, by the way.
Crumb horn.
You want to get back at your friends? Serenade them under the window with a crumb horn.
It's Cyrano.
Oh dear.
I used to be the type of guy who used to go to the ballpark and just for the cheerleaders. When I was a little boy, I liked the pretty girls dancing. I didn't like seeing the men with the big shoulders.
Yeah, watch them go up. Watch them go up. I watch them go up and down. I didn't play football in high school, but I was in the band.
Yes.
Over there with my trumpet, you know.
So you saw all the shows.
Yeah, and the girls, and I'd twirl my trumpet to impress the cheerleaders, and I dropped it and dented my trumpet.
Oh man.
Yeah, I dented my horn.
Yeah.
Yes, because I was.
You were a trumpeter?
I was a trumpet.
I think you had played the French horn. You told me.
Well, I'm trying to learn that. I got a French horn. I can play a little bit on, but trumpet and clarinet. Yeah. I started on clarinet. It was making my teeth go out.
Yeah.
And so we switched to horn.
Yeah.
I think you were going to do the same thing.
Yeah, I was going to.
I can still play both of them.
Yeah.
I'll bring them on the show one time.
I was trying to be in the elementary school band.
Oh, I started.
Now I just play the tambourine.
And the maracas.
The maracas. I think we still have that.
Yeah. But.
Yes.
As we were saying.
Yes.
You keep talking. I was trying to find something on.
Yes.
I can never see these little letters.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like an eye test. If you take a look at this piano.
Oh, it's got
Hammond organ.
Got 128 stops on it.
Yeah. This Wurlitzer organ.
But it's got some stuff on it I was trying to find.
Yeah. You should. You know who played the organ very well was Fats Waller.
Yes, he did.
I have an album of just him playing the.
And they used
organ.
They used his organ music in the soundtrack for Eraserhead.
Yes, they did. That it wasn't a lot of original noise in that, but yeah.
That's how. Susanna.
The lyrics to "Oh Susanna"
I'm nowhere near as good as Fats Waller.
But "Oh Susanna" has the weirdest lyrics. It's almost like
it is surreal.
Beat poetry almost.
It is. It's like buckwheat cake was in her mouth, a tear was in her eye.
Yeah.
Can you imagine this girl with a big buckwheat cake and a tear walking down the road? Yeah.
It rained so hard. I froze to death. Susanna.
It was. Well, they like nonsense stuff back then, and that was a 19th century version of surrealism coming from Stephen Foster.
There you go. Greatest American.
I knew I had some drums and crap. I want the drums and crap stop.
Yeah.
But
Fats Waller, I was talking with you that everyone knows his hit songs like Ain't Misbehaving and I Can't Give You Anything But Love.
Yes. Your pet extremity is really obnoxious. One never knows the one. Yes.
Your feet's too big.
Yes.
And
get your pet extremities out of here. They really are colossal. They look just like a fossil. They got me walking, talking, and squawking. 'Cause your feet's too big. Yes. Walk them things. Yes.
One guy if you get any of his recordings, they're all good. And he could take. You were saying that they sometimes would throw him the worst songs.
Yeah, the record company.
Abercrombie had a zombie that no one probably could make a hit out of.
RCA or somebody. They had all these records on file that they had paid good money for, and they weren't selling. They weren't very good. Weren't written very well. They say, "Here, Fats, see what you can do with that." He'd turn it into something.
Yeah,
and sometimes he didn't like that, but he would take it out in the humor, and it came out funny. Yeah.
I'm actually 1 degree from Fats Waller. I actually made.
I thought you were going to tell me you were
not related to him.
I thought you were going to tell me you were a Mason.
No. What happened was.
Let me check these insignia on your vest here.
No, it's
Archie, 1 degree. Comics. He's a 1 degree Mason.
That's my girlfriend Veronica and my sometime girlfriend Betty, and that's an artist. An artist picture of me in the middle. Oh,
get the phone.
I have
don't say.
I have something at home that makes that same noise.
Shake my head.
So this really freaked people out with that thing. Yeah.
Woo. Yeah, but you were saying
he was. Well, anyway, I made a movie with a guy called Jon Hendricks, who was with Lambert, Hendricks, and Ross. And once we knew he was a famous jazz guy and not really an actor, but he was in the movie as an actor. What happened was we started asking him about famous people he worked with, and he said, "Did you ever meet Fats Waller?" He goes, "I used to work with Fats Waller. I was a teenager, and he was near the end of his career." And he said, and Fats Waller told him, because he had the same problem. Their fathers were both preachers, and they had a kinship together because their parents never really, her father didn't like them being jazz singers. And being sort of like the Al Jolson movie, the jazz singer.
But Daddy, I don't want to be in the singing synagogue. I want to be in show business, Daddy. Oh, Daddy, oh please let me sing in show business.
That's a great Jolson.
Yeah,
I used to love Jolson.
Oh, Jolson's great. Jolson's great. Oh, yeah.
Watch the movie. Yeah, but yeah. So I actually know someone who knew.
Well, you know who I worked with. Who? Is Nurse Ratched.
Nurse Ratched.
Nurse Ratched.
Yes. And she's a friend of yours.
Yes.
Louise Fletcher. Yes. Oscar-winning actress.
And she's very, very fine actress. Doesn't believe in the stardom thing. Was very down to earth. But she was a lot of fun to work with.
That was her.
I didn't even know who I was talking to.
Yeah.
I was working with her. I said, "Hey, you're really good." And then later, she was that Oscar-winning actress. But I think she's in a TV series now, whether it's still on the air or not.
Yeah, now that Louise Fletcher, when she was in one of the Cougars, she was very tightly coiled, and that's why she won the Oscar. She was nothing like that in real life. But people started to wonder if she was really acting.
She's very flexible.
Now when you watch the movie, you're amazed how good she is.
She's very flexible. Yeah. She played a character called Mum in the movie I was in with her. Yeah. She was like this old lady, and she was like a bag lady. Yeah. So she was good.
And she, then I saw her in some comedy with John Lovitz where she plays the principal who takes over the school. And I think, I said, man, forget about what the Cuckoo's is. She's great in this movie with John Lovitz.
You gotta realize stardom and being a great actor, two separate things. Sometimes they come together, sometimes they don't. Yeah. Sometimes stars, the camera likes them, or the Times put them together, and they just play themselves, and they don't have much range, but they come across being great. But then there are other just really, really great actors and everything that end up doing a lot of character parts, or they may not get cast at all. There's people down the street that are fantastic actors.
The great actor, F. Murray Abraham, got the one great part in Salieri. Ran with it. You know, didn't know that when you see him in the Fruit of the Loom commercials as the grapes or something, you didn't think that was him. And then
this blithering boy, this idiot crawling across the floor. That was Mozart.
I know.
That's
this
masturbating maladroit. Whatever.
He, It's very interesting to note that that's all fictional. The
thing about
jealousy,
the thing about Amadeus,
sabotage of his career.
The thing about Amadeus is, think of it as an opera based on his life. Yeah, and operas go over the top. Yeah, and they're really wild and strange, and they can be really popular. Yeah. And it did a wonder for Mozart's reputation in the late 20th century, because he'd kind of fallen into somewhat of a eclipse. Haydn was a lot bigger on the classical radio scene when that movie came along. I came up in the 70s and all, and Haydn was everywhere, and once in a while was Mozart here, then and Karl Haas. Yeah, do you remember the hello everyone. Karl Haas. Mozart, he would talk about Mozart. He loved Mozart. He was the only one doing it. Yeah. But then that movie hit the fan. Yeah. With the laughter and everything. Yeah. And it really was great. Yeah. But it is like an opera, and it's actually based on an opera. Yeah. Rimsky-Korsakov wrote an opera which was based on a play or a book called Mozart and Salieri. There was a rumor that Salieri had murdered Mozart. It had been going around since his death. Yeah. And it was talked about among musicians and different people, and there was a somewhat popular play or book at that time, and Rimsky-Korsakov converted it to an opera.
Yes,
which is the basis of the plot for Amadeus.
Yes, it's such, and I guess it was in Russian.
That was, but there are translators. So they do have those things.
I had that same conversation with somebody that we were talking about Fiddler on the Roof. There was a documentary about Fiddler on the Roof, and it's shown. Yes, and it's shown in all these other countries. And someone asked, Fiddler on the Roof. Yeah. Is it translated when it's played in China? Do they sing it in Chinese, or do they sing it in Hebrew, or do they sing it in English? So I think they sing it in Chinese because you can translate any show into any vernacular. The few operas I have seen live,
I prefer to watch a movie about foreign people, done in English, but get the actors to do an accent. I like the accents. I don't like a bunch of Nazis walking around. Hello, chum. We've got to do something about the Führer. He's getting furious. They give
Gary Oldman to do the voices.
Well, they should. What are we doing? What are you going to do about the Führer? That's and it feels like they're German. Then they're speaking English, but
Torah. They had Japanese actors speaking Japanese with subtitles.
I saw something.
Same with the Glorious Bastards.
The guy, we have awakened a sleeping giant and filled him with a terrible reserve. That guy was good. But I saw something interesting. I just posted it, a movie last night, The Kremlin Letter.
Yes.
One of our
George
friends.
Sanders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, among many. Orson Welles is in it, and Richard Boone.
Yeah.
Nephew. He keeps calling the guy nephew.
John Hughes.
And Nigel Green. Anyway, it's a very true-to-life, hard-hitting, real spy story.
Yeah.
So it's not as thrilling. It's more kind of very tragic.
Yeah.
But it's directed by John Huston.
Yes.
And John Huston tried something a little bit different when it came to showing the Russians speaking Russian.
Yeah.
Instead of having subtitles, he had them talking in Russian, and then they gradually started talking in English with a Russian accent. And they had the guy
worked it through.
Yeah. They blended it, and it was interesting. And it kind of worked.
Yeah.
Just to let you know that we're letting you know that these guys were speaking Russian.
Yeah.
Now let's get on. I thought it was a very interesting innovation. John Huston. I'm always for innovation in my motion pictures. Yes.
He was one that
including when I had emphysema. I didn't cough on when they were shooting a take.
John Huston. I think I said this once before. John Huston's favorite TV show is Candid Camera, and he used to have his actors in the 1950s when he made movies in the 60s. He would have his actors watch Candid Camera and goes, "This is how people behave in extraordinary situations. This is how I want you to act like how normal people behave."
I never heard that one.
Yeah, that was his favorite show, and he also mentioned once in an interview.
This Alan Funt character is really something. Yeah.
Alan Funt. Yeah, Alan Funt was once on a plane that was being. That they had mechanical problems, and they turned it back to the airport where it came from, and then everyone noticed Alan Funt was on the plane, so a lot of the people there thought it was a Candid Camera trick.
Oh.
He couldn't show up anywhere without people saying, "I wonder if he's up to something." Everyone's waiting for the practical joke to happen. But also, John Huston said something very interesting once they asked him, is there any movies you don't like? And he said, "No, I like every movie I ever saw." He said, "How do you do that?" He goes, "Because I research the movie. I look at the poster. I know sometimes I know the actors in it, and by the time I sit down and see the movie, I know I'm going to like it." And I think that's very good. I try to like every movie I see.
I tend to like every movie because I know what you go through to make one. And I feel sorry for, especially if it's a bad movie. I'm very conciliatory. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Towards them because there's so many variables and things that can go wrong. You just feel bad for them. I wouldn't be a good critic
Yeah.
I would tend to be nice to everybody. I think.
Nobody sets out to make a bad movie or bad TV show or bad album. But the craziest thing is that I used to be a film critic in high school, and then I became a filmmaker like in college. And like everybody else, try to do what I can these days. And I stopped being a critic because when you're a critic, it's great, just say I don't like the movie or it sucks or it's good. But then when you actually, like you said, once you know how hard it is, then you have to feel sorry for the people making something, and you kind of empathize.
But the real critics do provide a service. At least you like Siskel and Ebert, they were good, and sometimes they would pan a movie, but usually they were very insightful. But even if there's a critic that you hate, you can use them as a barometer. You say if who was the guy that was in Myra Breckinridge?
Gore Vidal? Rex Reed. Rex Reed.
Yeah. He was a critic.
Yeah.
And even if Rex Reed pans it, usually where Rex Reed stands on most things, and you can say, well, if he pans it, it ought to be good.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
Oh, yeah. Siskel and Ebert, I remember Ebert, I thought Ebert, when I liked the movie, then I heard the reviews, more than likely I agreed with what Ebert said, because usually he didn't like the movie or liked the movie more so than Siskel did. Yeah. I'm not saying Siskel was bad, I'm just saying that Ebert was more in line with what more than usual. Yeah.
Siskel was more erudite, and cool and calculating, whereas Ebert was kind of no, why did you say that? He was into it.
But I got to tell you something about these film review shows is that they're good entertainment and stuff. But I always say, listen, these are usually two very smart people reviewing movies. One guy likes it, the other guy doesn't like it. That doesn't mean you won't like it. So somebody says, I'm not going to see that movie because they said it was
a lot of people nowadays in the internet world and everything, they just kind of regurgitate what was said about something. Yeah. Without knowing what they're talking about, without having it gets repeated and repeated, and I hate that.
There are some critics on the internet, like on these fan sites and stuff, that two things going on. You wonder if they're just advertising for a movie because they may be a plan.
Well, they do that.
Yeah, just
they do that.
And another thing is that you some of them I don't really notice it now, but there was a time when all the reviews would be in, and then the local papers would get it, and you wonder if the local reviewers waited to see if the movie was bad or good. Or I better get on the bandwagon, like all the other critics that say it's good, or say even though I personally thought otherwise.
They're not supposed to do that. No, they're not.
Yes. So I was actually a very good film critic for a teenager, but the only thing I do now is make little comments about movies on certain Facebook pages, but I always try to make it kind of positive I tend to review
movies that are 50 years old, so they're making it different. Yeah. Well, I like to inform people to an extent, and without going overly long, if it's a bad movie, you can have fun with it and do some jokes about it. But,
well, there's a movie everyone knows.
Let us meditate on the philosophy of film criticism. We've got a sitar. Oh, yes. I went to a party. Did you go to the party with all those big film people there? Oh, and there was an elephant, and there was a pool, and then they passed the turkey, and they passed a little Cornish game hen, and then we hit the fork, and it landed on the woman's tiara. It was hilarious. I hope they get the Oscar for that. Birdie Num Num.
The Birdie Num Num. I was waiting for you to say that.
I don't know if you guys know what we're talking about. But
you do a good at Peter Sellers.
A very interesting movie starring Mr. Peter Sellers and directed by Blake Edwards, who later they both went on to do the Pink Panther and all these types of movies. But the first time they did this kind of shtick was in a movie called The Party.
The Party.
Yeah, made in the early 60s about a big Hollywood party. Most of the movie takes place at this party, and boy, things happen.
It has probably the funniest pre-credit sequence you will ever see in a movie, where they show him as an extra in a movie.
Yeah, he's this bad extra.
He's the worst extra of all time.
He almost destroys the entire set.
Actually,
he does. and it blows it up, and as Peter Sellers trying to play Gunga Din, and he falls. Oh, it's a very terrible thing. And by accident, he gets invited to the party because his name was on a list that they shouldn't have read. And the big executive that owns the studio, who's just
recognized,
all right, well, we got to find that guy. You know, he ends up, oh, would you like a birdie? Yum yum. Talking to the guy, and they got these buttons they press. And it's a very automated house, and all these things just start getting weird. And then these hippie daughter and all her friends,
with the Nehru jackets,
and the elephant. They got a little baby elephant that gets in the pool.
You know the woman in that movie is Claudine Langer.
Claudine Langer,
another woman who
and they had this sweet,
killed somebody.
In the middle of all this, they had this sweet little romance.
Yeah.
But all this insanity, it's beautifully done insanity.
And Gavin MacLeod is in it before he was on Mary Tyler Moore.
Yes, right. He plays the mad butler.
Yeah.
He knows about the guy, and he's gonna get him. Yeah.
Oh, that is such a good movie.
And he has that toupee that keeps coming off. Yeah. Yeah. Gavin has a range that you don't always see. You see a good range. In Love Boat, he played kind of a nice guy, but in this, he was like as bad as Terry Thomas. He could play a really funny, mad, terrible tempered Mr. Bang type of guy.
Still around. He turns around. He comes up every once in a while on the show. Yeah, he's on Sergeant Bilko. He's like the last person.
Well, that show's no longer on the air.
From the 50s.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
And then McHale's Navy's on, too.
All right, you guys gather around. Oh, begging the Colonel's pardon, sir. I'm so happy to see you, sir. Bilko! I'm going to go John Flynn or Joe Flynn. Not John Flynn.
No, I know it. His name was Paul Ford.
Paul Ford. He had his own
Aykroyd played that part in the movie.
And he had his own show called The Baileys of Balboa.
Right. That's right.
Now I'm doing W.C. Fields, but yes, it was Bilko. I'm going to get you. Where did he go?
Now, I once was watching Bilko once, an episode. I'll tell you the episode. But what happened was, it was one of the funniest things I ever saw on television. And then when it was over, written by Neil Simon. He was when he wrote.
Oh, well, he started out on your show of shows.
He wrote a lot.
Those guys. It was just a clutch of guys there that went on to do great things. I grew up watching a lot of Neil Simon theater here in Richmond. There was
first
a lot.
Play I was in was Neil Simon. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I almost got a part.
Yeah.
In a Neil's, and I think it was Lost in Yonkers. When I was going to play this old Jewish gentleman, and I really impressed the director. He said, "You're really good." I was only 23. He said, "But you're too young." I said, "I can do makeup."
I was up for that part. They said I wasn't Jewish enough.
Yeah. Well, the first play I did, I played a 60-year-old man.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of Neil Simon, if anyone's out there, they should cast both of us in The Odd Couple. Wouldn't we be great? I think pretty odd. You'd make a great Felix.
Well, Felix, you're impossible. Oscar, no. Yeah, we could probably do our own. We ought to get the script. I might have that book I've got for screenplays for actors. It might have a few pages from it.
I always tell people what a great actor I am, and they say, "How do we know you're a great actor?" I said, "I could play Felix or Oscar." We could, like, every other night.
And I'm schizophrenic. I am schizophrenic, so I can do both.
Every other night we can change parts.
Yeah.
My sister, her husband was working with his boss in a different state, I think Washington D.C., and they would live in a apartment during the week and then come home on the weekends to their wives in Richmond. So I said, "You're my brother-in-law and his boss. Are they like Felix and Oscar?" And she says, "No, they're more like Felix and Felix."
Oh my God! My God! Push that one away. God.
No.
Yeah.
So so I was I was in the first show I was ever in. I actually had one of the lead parts. I was an older guy, but it was called Proposals, and it's not. They never made a movie out of it, but it was about I think the Catskills, and I played like the owner of a hotel, a Jewish man, and I based my character because it was the first play I was ever in. I was almost 40 years old, and I was played. I based it on Harvey Keitel. I want to be a tough guy, Jewish guy, or James Caan.
What are you stunk in the boot down? Sheldon Leonard, he was a big producer, but he also talked like a tough guy.
Yeah.
On the laugh end,
yes,
they would go, suck it to me, suck it to me, suck it to me, and then they'd cut to Sheldon.
Yeah.
He'd go, suck it to him. Suck it to him, suck it to him. That's the way I thought. I said, what are they saying? Suck it to him, suck it to him.
You don't know who Sheldon Leonard is. He's also the guy who keeps ringing the bell in It's a Wonderful Life. He's the guy. He goes, every
oh yeah.
He goes, angels get their wings right now. And he's kind of.
He was
cynical.
also.
He always played a tough guy.
He was also the executive producer of the Dick Van Dyke Show, or a producer. Of course, Carl Reiner was the creator, executive producer, but Sheldon was. There
was 4 shows he produced that were big hits at the same time. There was the Danny Thomas Show, the Gomer Pyle Show, the Dick Van Dyke Show, and there's another one. Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah.
And what happened was he was like the executive. He was like the big guy, not really day-to-day guy. But he was there, and he made a deal with the networks, whatever networks those shows were on. They said, give them time because they're going to take a while because they wanted to cancel a lot of those shows after like the first 3 weeks. Yeah. They lasted, and all 4 of those shows became classic
later
shows.
Later he appeared on Dick Van Dyke Show as this mobster called Big Max Calvada, which was an in gag because their production company name was Calvada Productions. He came on as Big Max Calvada.
Yeah.
And you look on the credits, Calvada Productions. It was a little company they formed,
Yeah, I remember him saying on one show, he was like a gangster. He goes, I heard you singing. I've heard better sounds emanating from a slaughterhouse. Sheldon Leonard, yeah.
And Bill Cosby did a great routine on one of his records about Sheldon Leonard.
Yeah, well, he produced I Spy. That gave his.
Oh, okay. But he was. He was. And he went to Shell's house, and he was up on the diving board. Am I high enough, Shell? Not high enough. And you have to hear it, but it's those albums of Cosby.
He broke the color barrier, Sheldon Leonard, by they said it's written for 2 white guys. They said, why can't it be a black guy? And
the thing about Cosby, I got to defend Cosby. I'm still a Cosby fan, and,
the albums are very.
And I don't think he was treated right. But anyway, Cosby had the knack of being a black guy and still being true to being black and all that, but warming up the white audience to him at the same time. And you might notice he's black, but then you just go on, I like this guy. You know? And he had a wonderful gift for communication.
He was like the comedic Sidney Poitier. A lot of white audiences
kind of like that,
warmed up. And I think they warmed up I would like to think to black culture as a result of that.
Well, it's been going on for many years. It took time
to the point where it doesn't matter anymore, which is good, which is the best.
Well, now we're having backlash, relash, and stuff, and that's more because of Southern whites being treated badly in the media, and then Donald Trump coming along and saying, "I'm for you," and but. For many, many years, since the 60s, there's always been these subtle put-downs, off and on. Sometimes they elevate the South. They'd have a Burt Reynolds movie or something about Nashville or whatever. But then they make these subtle put-downs, and it was always like coming out of New York, and the Southerners hear all that, and they get tired of it. And that was what, and then political correctness really bit the bullet. It really made it worse than anything. And I got so sick and tired of political correctness. It seemed so smarmy, and it was put downs, and not only that, it was just irritating the way they talked, and that's what put Trump into the White House.
Yeah.
And Trump had an opportunity to be a great statesman there, but then we know what
his personality got in the way.
Yeah, he was incapable. He's a big dyslexic. I feel for him there. I know he's dyslexic because I'm dyslexic, but he oh God, the guy. I can't wait for the books to come out explaining about what he was. I might write one myself.
He's still the president. He's not going away, and after he
they'll go grabbing, kicking, and screaming.
Yeah.
They're going to send in the Marines.
I think he'll probably walk out of there with his head held high, like Nixon did. But I mean,
Nixon. I like Nixon.
But I don't. But
he can do
Trump
that thing at the end, like
election.
Mr. Seinfeld did.
Yeah. He just lost the election. It wasn't like any disgrace. Every election, someone has to lose.
Yeah, but he doesn't think like that. He's got to win.
Yeah.
I've got to be a winner all the time. I don't lose. I always win. You look at his face sometimes, he's really mad. But if he's got any smarts at all, he'll save face and get out of there, and he'll go on to do whatever he wants to do.
Start his own TV network, I heard, and also he'll be a kingmaker. Everyone, the party, Republican Party,
don't tell him that.
Still no, he knows it. And he'll be a bigger hit probably after.
Why does the Republican Party have this penchant? Mm-hmm. And I vote Republican quite from time to time. Yeah. And they got to have a big strong guy telling everybody else what to do. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Along came
a leader.
They don't want to think for themselves. Newt Gingrich did the same thing for a while, and I was a fan of Newt Gingrich for a while until he started talking about, what do you think about in the environment? Well, I'm in favor of zoos. But
so am I.
Yeah, how about a little more than that?
The monkey house.
The planet is dying, folks. But anyway, it seems like they got to be in lockstep and say, yes, he is our leader. Jawohl, we must go with him. But the Republican Party did not used to be like that in the days of Eisenhower or Nixon or whatever. They were debated. Nixon was a very moderate president.
Actually, Nixon, at his funeral,
good God, the guy
Bob Dole said that Nixon was our most liberal president for all the things he
And you look at what he accomplished in his presidency.
As president.
It's so much, ever as much, more than anybody since FDR.
Yeah.
And, but they got wrapped up in the thing. And it was during the not only a Cold War, but the height of our cultural war. Yeah. And you did... Is Ted Kennedy a commie? Well, my mother and dad was saying, well, he's a communist. Everybody was thinking. Nobody knew. Yeah. Nobody knew who was infiltrating what. It took a while to get around to saying, okay, we've overreacted. But there's still things with the communists.
He made his name as a senator. That's how he got picked up to be on the ticket. They thought that Ike was, a little too, old, soft-spoken guy. So they wanted a rabid anti-communist guy.
Yes.
and he was only 39 years old. He's still one of the youngest men to run on a ticket. 39.
Yes.
Yeah. It's important to know when he became president, he was a typical age, like 55 or something.
And he was a Quaker, and
a Quaker.
He was Spanish blood. He was a man of color. Yes, There was a rumor saying that he had black blood at the time.
There's always rumors. Yeah.
But I remember hearing
by
that.
their haters,
I remember, well, it wasn't that, haters. It was just people saying, oh, he's got black blood. I heard my parents mentioning that.
Yeah.
They voted for.
Whenever I hear about it's awful. Sometimes you hear someone has Jewish blood in them, or sometimes they say they're gay. They're gay. But I'm Jewish, so people will...
You're half Jew,
no, but people
Irish.
Will say... Well,
you look like your mother and she's Irish.
But people will say, oh, the Jews will say, oh, I'm very proud of him because he's Jewish. But then you realize that it's the anti-Semites that are saying the guy is Jewish as a pejorative, as an insult.
Well, they have to say it as a lot of shades of gray in it, a lot of shades of stuff.
When I was a kid...
But the word I'm against the word anti-Semite because it's very confusing. They ought to say, if you're going to say anti-Jewish, say anti-Jewish. But Semite means an Arab and a Jew.
From that
and there's plenty of Jews that hate, plenty of a lot of Arabs that hate Jews, and some Jews that are against Arabs. How can you hate yourself? Stop using the word like that. Yeah. Say Jewish or Arab, and it's two different issues. Yeah. You got jihad on the one side and the left bank on the other side, and all that stuff.
The West Bank. The West Bank is in
Paris. Yeah. Well, it might be.
They're like the poets.
Well, the artists. I'm dyslexic, but depending on where you're standing, it might be.
Yeah, you're standing on your head. Now, hey, we've been doing the show for a while, and we haven't talked about the pandemic. But let me tell you something. I heard the craziest thing about the pandemic a few days ago. Michael Moore was talking about this terrible thing that has killed 250,000 people so far in America. Now, listen to this. And this brought me to my. He was saying this on a talk show.
Worse as we speak.
You know what he said? He said that, doing my Michael Moore, can you believe it? 250,000 people have died, and this president's not doing anything about it. But I mean, what if a nuclear? This is what he said.
Michael Moore said. This is what he said, and it blew my mind. He says, what if you heard a report that 250,000 people died in a nuclear attack on Richmond, Virginia? Because there's 250,000 people. The population. Well, I wouldn't hear a thing.
And I said,
because I live here.
And when he said that, I stood up and said, I live in Richmond, Virginia. All my friends live in Richmond, Virginia. I never gave it. I never put it in that perspective.
The radio is going to be blown away. You're not going to hear anything. It'll be like Dr. Strangelove. Mandrake, have you noticed? I say, Jack, look at this radio. It's playing chock-a-block full of commercial radio. There can't be a nuclear attack. Oh boy, Mandrake. Yeah.
So of all the cities to pick would be hit by a nuclear bomb in his supposed in his fantasy, they pick Richmond, Virginia.
At least somebody's saying something about Richmond besides we were the capital of the Confederacy. Yeah. I get tired
of monuments and the I mean, that's in recent news. You hear a lot about that.
I'm mad as hell. Still mad as hell about the monuments.
Yeah,
put them back. Build a whole lot more to black people and everybody else, and tell the whole story. We were the city of monuments. They're beautiful monuments. Build more. We got a lot of room for them. But anyway,
nice city.
I love the city. I've spent many years of my life trying to preserve a lot of it. My grandfather was a noted architect, so I've gone to bat with friends at City Hall and other places trying to keep these things from the wrecking ball many times, and that's part of it. And the place was voted by a European bunch of people, saying it was one of the most beautiful streets in the world.
Yes.
And our friend Harry Kolitz wrote a tremendous comedy about it.
Right.
When Salvador Dali wanted to build a monument, he designed a monument to go on Monument Avenue. And I think that ought to be built too. It was something about a thumb and a slice of lemon or mushroom and a thumb. It would have been great.
General on Hostbrook was that? Yeah. He was supposed to make there.
No, it was just a monument. No, I think we could do. I'm going to do some drawings. In fact, I've already designed a concept for the Slave Museum a couple of years ago. That's still, people are arguing about that, but I'm going to do some drawings of proposed ideas for monuments. Like you could do the Underground Railroad. That could be very dramatic, and you could do some of the heroes. In fact, but we've already started building them. I was talking about that back in '89, and finally it was kind of catching on. We got 2 monuments to black people built. Yeah. And it's not easy to raise money for a monument. It's not easy to get a monument built. Yeah. It takes a lot
of to withstand snow and rain.
No, I'm talking about raising the funds.
Yeah, but I mean, they have to be sturdy things. They can't just...
Well, that's why they cost money. But I mean, just getting the ball rolling in the political realm of just raising money.
Do you know that when the Statue of Liberty came to America from France, the deal was we had to build a pedestal in New York.
Yeah, that's right.
And the pedestal is quite a structure, and then you have to just plop
there's some very well. It was a big undertaking. Gustav Eiffel was the engineer of that, and there was a sculptor that did a small model Then they made big giant pieces.
Yeah.
And Gustav Eiffel of the Eiffel Tower fame
Yeah.
had the superstructure underneath, and they hung these plates in place, and it all came together. And there's very interesting old photographs.
Yeah.
When it was shipped over here, you'll see the lady's face just sitting there in a field, or sitting next to a car, you know, or a hand sitting there, and that must have been quite a surreal time.
I used to creep people out at school by when I took a shower. I would get the soap in my hair and get big spikes in there and say, "Look, I'm the Statue of Liberty."
Yeah.
Can't do that anymore.
Oh, I designed a T-shirt. Where's my T-shirt? Oh, I can't show it. Where is it?
A T-shirt? The one you're wearing?
No, a T-shirt of the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, yeah.
Smoking marijuana. It's on my production page.
It's green like marijuana. Yeah.
You know,
I think someone told me marijuana's green.
I had it here. I'll show it some other time.
Yeah.
But
you have the invisible man on your T-shirt.
I'm very bad at selling my own stuff. I don't like selling. I like marketing or thinking about advertising. I've designed a lot of and written a lot of advertising.
You should do info
for the Martin Agency and everybody else, and my own commercials. But I don't like getting on the phone and saying, "Buy my beer, buy my beer, buy my beer." I just want to get back to the drawing board